So, Mr. Schmidt, do you think there's
You
a
can call
bubble?
me Eric.
Is there a bubble? And in fact, how does that make you look back on your own IPO a few years ago?
Oh, we underpriced. That was a joke. That was a joke. That was a joke. That was a joke. Yeah, don't quote me, please. Okay, so the question is there a bubble?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Is that the same question you asked? Or did you ask a different question?
Yes, and I was also going to add if Google benefits from this flood of money going in because people buy more these startups and businesses or big AdWords customers.
That's a good question.
That is a good one.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, on that specific, I'll answer the general question, but the specific, an example is that Groupon is one of our largest advertisers, right? So we clearly benefit from the success of Groupon. I don't think Facebook is an advertiser, but they might be, and I don't think Twitter is. But I was thinking about the panel this morning, right? So the Groupon is an example of somebody who uses people quite effectively to get started, and then they bring people using ads into their system, and then they obviously make a lot of money.
When you say largest, like where would they rank?
I don't know, but it's significant because of their growth rate, especially especially in the local market,
Yeah.
right? And they're particularly clever at local targeting, which I think is why they've been so successful. I think on the general question of bubble, it's first place you don't know if it's a bubble, and you don't know it's a bubble until the bubble ends, by definition. And the rule I set for myself 10 years ago was that if the press called it a bubble, I would pay attention. So let me report that the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and The Economist have all written articles saying it's a bubble. And I apologize if I excluded the other publications. So you have a couple choices. One is that the revenue growth possibility on these platforms is so large, and this is certainly possible, that you could get the kind of revenue acceleration that justifies the valuations. That's choice A. Choice B is you have a liquidity squeeze where you don't have enough shares and they're artificially high. Right? And to answer the Google question, Google went public at a very different time. At the time when we went public, everyone said that it was an unbelievably high valuation. And let me point out that we've never traded below our opening price.
Sorry, if I could parse that, it sounds like you're unconvinced either way.
I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to give you a yes or no because I don't think it's fair.
Matter. It implied that people get irrationally.
Well,
Maybe a fallout of
I think there's one thing that we can say, which is that real estate values will be going up.
like what you worry about.
No, but let's talk about it. Let's be honest. What are the consequences of this? Well, young people who need houses will go into areas of scarce housing resources, and there will be competition for houses, and houses will go up. So for them, it's not a bubble; it's actually a house, right? And if you're an existing house seller who gets to sell at a higher price, you love it. So I think that's when it's interesting. The other comment I would make, having gone through a highly publicized IPO, is that you don't really know the answer to these questions until there's a reasonable amount of circulation of shares. You have a more stable shareholder base. You won't have that until the initial significant lockups expire, which is typically 6 months. So you won't really know the answers to these questions until 2012.
Why isn't it fair to just give a yes or no answer? I just didn't understand that.
I don't think it's my job to call the market. It's a mistake for me to say what the market should think.
Okay, a lot of people say you're really well positioned just because of your experience.
Well, but I'm not a brilliant investor. If I were a brilliant investor, then maybe I'd have some status. I'm a computer scientist.
Okay.
The valuations that are being placed on the company, do you think they underscore the...
No, but you understand the valuations are, it's mathematically incorrect. The way valuations work is you take 1% of the shares which are trading in secondary markets, and then you imply that if 99% of those shares were in circulation, that would be the value. But it's not, right? So it's just mathematically incorrect, and yet this is how our systems work. This bothered me at Google, by the way. It's not a new fact. So you won't really know until there's enough shares in trading to say what the total asset value, because the theory is that X company is worth Y if you were to fully dissolve the company. So, but it's not necessarily right. You're taking a 1% and scaling it. I can assure you that if all of the shareholders of all of these companies decided to sell on day one, eventually the price would fall. That's why they have lockups and they have restrictions for that reason, and plus all the rules around. But I think it's exciting. It's exciting for them. I wish them very well. It was fun when we went through it.